Alright guys, in today's video we have more PlayStation news and rumors to go over and cover. Before we dive into today's topics, do me a big favor, hit that like button to help the video out and show it your support. And we are on our way to 100,000 subscribers here on the channel, so if you're new, do me a big favor and hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. We're starting here though talking about, believe it or not, a rumor regarding Resistance 4, or another title in the Resistance series. Now, before anybody gets overly excited, I want to let you know that this rumor may come off as relatively disappointing to any Resistance fans, but I do think that there is potentially a silver lining here that we should be looking at. So it says Insomniac Games has pitched Resistance 4 to Sony, who declined the project due to a bad case of post-apocalyptic video game fatigue. That's at least according to the Sacred Symbols podcast with Colin Moriarty, who claims that the format holder felt it had too many post-apocalyptic titles in the oven at the time. Apparently, the likes of Killzone Shadowfall, The Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Days Gone were in pre-production and or active development at the time Resistance 4 was pitched. And so it says, and I quote, Resistance 4 was pitched to PlayStation and they declined Resistance 4 because it sounded too similar to The Last of Us, and they didn't want the two games overlapping with each other. So Resistance was shut down at that point. This was obviously years before Sony purchased Insomniac Games, following the massive success of Marvel's Spider-Man. Still, the Resistance franchise has a loyal and dedicated fan base, so it's a bit of a blow to learn that we could have potentially got a fourth game at some point. Now, you're probably wondering, what's the silver lining here, MBG? Is there any at all? I think there is. I think there's a couple things we need to acknowledge here. First of all, we need to acknowledge the fact that we are pretty far removed from this. Now, I do believe this. We have to understand this is a rumor, but I do take Colin Moriarty's word for it. This seems like something he would definitely know. He's very close with some people in Insomniac Games. But I think the silver lining ultimately is that Insomniac wants to make Resistance 4. Like, that's the thing here. As this article points out, when this game was pitched, Insomniac was not a first-party studio, and Insomniac certainly wasn't doing the heavy lifting for Sony at that time that they're obviously doing right now, like we see with Spider-Man 2018, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, right? I think that the silver lining here is that Insomniac Games clearly wants to make a fourth game in the series, and they now have more pull within Sony than they ever have. You know, they're, in my opinion, easily, especially after Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, one of the most prestigious studios Sony has right now, you know, as a first party. I think that they're right up there with Naughty Dog, with Guerrilla Games, with Santa Monica, easily. So I have to believe that at this point, right, if they went to Herman Hulst and said, look, we want to make Resistance 4, like, it's what we want to do, I don't think that they would say no to that. How could they say no to that? I think that that would be ridiculous. I kind of understand the reasoning why Sony said no to it in the past. It's like, okay, like, it's true, you have like way too many post-apocalyptic games in development. Currently, we don't know how many post-apocalyptic games Sony has in development. We do know that Insomniac is just finishing up Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. We know that they're working on a proper Spider-Man sequel, but we know that they're a multi-team or multi-project studio, any multi-team studio. So, you know, they did rehire Drew Murray, and I think that he has played an integral part in the Resistance franchise. You know, maybe we're going to see it. I think there's a chance we could see it. So, again, I know it's a little bit disappointing because it's like, oh, Sony rejected it, but it was a long time ago, and we learned that Insomniac Games does want to make another Resistance. So, make of that what you will, but we're going to move on and talk about something that's not a rumor. This is actually official news, but it's not necessarily something that would be, you know, considered like an announcement of any sort. This is actually coming from multiple job postings or listings at Naughty Dog, and this is a pretty significant update to the multiplayer Last of Us game that I have been telling you guys for some time now to brace yourselves for what this game is going to be, because I still don't think people have a good idea of what Naughty Dog is trying to achieve with this title. And I'm going to tell you right now that when once we read these job postings, you're going to have a much better sense of what exactly Naughty Dog is striving for with this multiplayer game. So again, this is reading from some job postings. They're looking for a level/environment designer for their multiplayer game, and it says embark on Naughty Dog's newest adventure, the studio's first standalone multiplayer game. We're seeking to bring the same level of ambition and quality of our signature story-driven games to this unique multiplayer project. This is a rare opportunity to make an impact in your discipline and craft an experience that will be enjoyed and shared by millions of players around the world. Our level design process is based around giving the designer the maximum amount of control and flexibility over the design of the space. Rather than assembling prefabs, our level designers model directly in 3D. If you're someone who can create realistic spaces with strong identity and compelling gameplay, we would love to talk to you. Now, there is a second job posting here where they're looking for a gameplay scripter. This is a temporary assignment, and they're emphasizing once again, this is for their standalone multiplayer game. Now, look, I don't think people fully realize yet how significant of a project this really is that Naughty Dog is pursuing. Sony made it clear recently, and in my opinion, it's been clear for some time, that they want more multiplayer games, and I'm all for this. I know that not everybody is in agreement here. There are plenty of PlayStation gamers who are like, look, I go to PlayStation for my single-player, narrative-driven experiences, and that's why I'm here as well. The good news is they're not going to be stopping those anytime soon, nor are we going to be getting less of those experiences. However, Sony wants to make sure that they are covering their multiplayer side of things as well. A lot of people would also argue that that's where they've been lacking. And so what Sony wants to do is they're going to be taking Naughty Dog here, many would consider to be their best studio, right? Their most prestigious studio, their most talented studio. This is how they're viewed. They're going to take this studio, they're going to have them make a multiplayer game, a dedicated multiplayer game with one of their biggest, most well-known IPs, that being The Last of Us. And they want it to be a massive success. Sony wants to find that same type of success that other multiplayer games have found, such as GTA Online, Fortnite, and others, to name a few. You know, even like looking at something like Rainbow Six Siege, games that can be just kind of grown over time and continue to exist. Live service games. Again, I know not everybody wants to hear this, but I'm very excited for it. I have to say, I really am. I loved The Last of Us 1 and 2 gameplay. I really enjoyed the factions mode in The Last of Us. And to think about what they could potentially do here with this standalone multiplayer game, I mean, I gotta tell you, I like this. I like that they're going big. I like that they're going all in. The reason why I like this is because you know that whatever this multiplayer game is going to be, it's not just going to be some, attempt to, oh, well, let's just try to, rush out this little multiplayer thing, and maybe it'll take, maybe it'll stick, maybe it won't. No, they're actually going to be trying to apply the same level of ambition and quality that they are known for with their single player titles, and that's a big deal. That's definitely a big deal. Something tells me that this game is going to be something Sony really pushes in a big way. And I think it's going to win a lot of people over. I really do think that. I think that people right now are not comfortable with the idea of a dedicated multiplayer game, a AAA dedicated multiplayer game being developed by Naughty Dog. They want Naughty Dog to be working on single player titles and whatnot, and they're going to continue to do that. Again, they're a very large team. But right now, this is what they're focused on. And I think we could see it this year. The only thing is, considering how big they're going with this multiplayer game, it wouldn't shock me if we didn't see it this year. I really hope we do, but it's hard to say. We have no idea how far along in development this is. It's worth noting this did start out as just another factions mode that they were going to add on to The Last of Us Part 2. But it has ballooned so big in size, scope, and scale that now it's its own standalone AAA multiplayer game. I want you to brace yourselves. Remember, I'm saying this. This is not going to be a PS5 only title. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm telling you now, it's going to be PS4 and it's going to be PC. I know that sounds crazy, and I know that some people are not going to want to hear that, but I'm just telling you like it is. This is what Sony's going to do. They want as many people to experience this game as possible. It's going to be a live service game. And honestly, again, I can't help but be excited for it. I love The Last of Us gameplay, and to think about them going all in with a unique multiplayer experience in The Last of Us universe, I'm all about that. So I'm all about that, and whatever they're working on next with their next AAA single player project, which is most likely in the pre-production stage right now, the conceptualizing stages. So it's not like they're not doing anything with that, but yeah, there you go. I definitely wanted to take some time to update you guys with this, because I do think that this is a pretty significant thing that came out here today, and I haven't really seen enough people talking about it, but I think it's going to make some waves. And I think that people are going to be quite shocked at how serious Sony is when it comes to expanding their portfolio into multiplayer games. So let me know down in the comments below what you think about Naughty Dog acknowledging that they're making a standalone, their first standalone multiplayer game. Let me know your thoughts on that. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Do me a favor, leave the video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.